The pay- to your neck of the woods, rip. One thing's for sure, I'll be good. Last year's I wanna be. Don't shake your sassy ass in front of me. For take you there and turn your back. Wait, me to calm down. Listen, I'm Lola Falana, drip the Gabbana. I've never worn Dolce Gabbana. Not that I have anything against it per se, except poverty. You know what I mean? But regardless, welcome everybody. It's the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze. I'm so grateful and appreciative that you all have made some time to come kick it with your homie. We are in the middle of our spring fundraiser, and let me lead off the show with thank you, because Friday's show we set a weekend goal of $500. That's our tier 1 goal. We are shooting for an overall goal of $3K in 2 weeks, and you guys helped us get us there so much. So we got to our $500 goal. I believe our next benchmark is $800. So I think we're shooting for $800. So not 800 in one night. So plus 3. So 300. Let me get my math together. We already got 5. Now we're shooting for 300 more to eventually get us to 3,000. So anyway, anyone that has contributed, donated, Angela Walker, thank you for your support. We appreciate it. Everyone that has run us support via super chats, via the cash platforms, BIDWKB, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Thank you all so much. And again, I'm here for free support all the time. If you push buttons over here, like that counts. It does. Like it really does. So if you like the video, if you comment, if you become a channel member, by the way, our channel memberships and our Patreon memberships are the same. So it's $2 a month. Over on Patreon, you can pay for a year in advance at the $2 a month tier. I think that takes you like to $24. Because I think they offer a discount if you sign up for a yearly membership over at patreon.com/BIDWKB. So this helps for us to keep the show going. You know, it helps. Okay. Like we're a small staff of 3. We're independent media. We are Black woman run and centered media. We do stories about Black women, Indigenous people. We are here to talk about marginalized groups, disabled folks, because that it is I is us, we is all the same in here. So, and just a quick reminder, everybody, nobody wins when the family feuds. So shit is about to get real out here, and we need to be reminded that we are literally all we have. Okay, so we need to be operating with that in mind. Okay, like we're gonna have to call upon each other and maybe depend upon each other. So nobody wins when the family feuds. I'm gonna leave it there. So I appreciate you guys joining us. I wanted to lead off with a rap. That didn't happen. I couldn't think because I'm old and shit. So I'd be repeating the same shit, like the rest of the old people. So I feel like a lot of the verses I have committed to memory, y'all have heard many times. So I was trying to pull up something. I'm like, what else do I know? So I put up that Foxy Brown Jay-Z, which I do know, but Jay-Z ain't hitting the same on these old records. You understand? So anyway, it didn't slap. Come on in here, everybody. I want y'all to grab a seat, grab your spliffs. Drinking is discouraged, but we won't frown upon it. And I only discourage alcohol consumption because it's very bad for you. There's no nutritional value to alcohol, and it's a known carcinogen. And yes, I understand smoking also maybe not so good, but I think it may not do up your insides as bad as the alcohol. But we have a lot of stories to get to. And listen, part of Friday's deal for our fundraising efforts was that the viewers, y'all got to make some decisions about our editorial direction for today's show. So I think Molly had put up a poll, and the story that did the best was about the Tate brothers, Andrew and asshole. What's the other one's name? Tristan. The fuck. First of all, I'd like to express my anger towards all of you that voted for that story, because I do not keep up with famous creepy crackers. I try not to. I like to focus on the local PDF files, right? I hate paying attention to influencers. I do not like commenting on the commentators. That's not what I like to do. I either want to talk about regular people or people in power who determine policy. I don't like to discuss the middlemen, not usually. But these douchebags are pretty remarkable. And I hate to say that as like, I sound like the middle-aged person who's just found the internet. Like, you don't know who the Tate brothers are. It's not that I don't know who they are. I have taken deliberate steps to ignore them. Okay. Like I don't give a fuck who they are, but because y'all have insisted that I cover the story and it's a burn it down with Kim Brown story. No doubt about it. We're going to jump right into it. So do me a favor, you guys, come on in here, push a boutons. Marque dos. por español, you know, and join us on this good program here tonight. So the story about the Tate brothers is a kind of interesting one. So these guys, these douchebags, you guys know who they are. And if you don't know who they are, Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan are dual citizens. They are both British and American nationals. Andrew was a world-renowned kickboxer or fucking local kickboxer. I don't goddamn know. He fought people. He liked to beat people. Apparently, these douchebags come from a fair level of privilege. 2015 is when I can calculate the first known accusations. Let's put it that way. I won't say the first because this is not how these people operate. But the first set of public accusations of sexual abuse or outright rape, as the kids say, against Andrew Tate came in the UK in 2015. He was a member or participant, contestant on Big Brother UK, and he was pulled from the show because of these allegations. Allegations, by the way, that have stuck with him, not just in Britain, but very infamously. The Tate brothers were detained in Romania for a pretty fair amount of time, and only recently were they allowed to travel again. They boarded a private jet, landed in Florida in late February. And we're going to pick up the story from there because there's interesting things afoot, because the hypocrisy of the right when it comes to predators and who is a predator and who do we need to protect children from is always a funny conversation. Because if you listen to these right-wing evangelical douchebags, they're hell-bent on erasing trans people in the name of saving children. Oh my God, we have to keep trans women out of bathrooms because they're gonna harm our daughters. Meanwhile, the cisgender douchebag who's dressed head to toe in Prada, you don't view him as a predator or as a danger to girls and women in the same way that transgender people are being maligned and demonized with no evidence, by the way. Not to say that sexual assault happens across all gender identities. However, hetero men, oh, they are swinging for the fucking fences when it comes to sexual assault and assault on levels that transgender folks could not even fathom. Okay, so let's get that fucking clear. So when you have two douchebags like Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, who have been, in my opinion, credibly accused numerous times of sex crimes in Romania, they are facing allegations of human trafficking, sexual assault, money laundering, among others. And because of Andrew Tate's massive platform and his support for President Trump, it is widely believed that the Trump administration put some political pressure on Romania to free the Tate brothers. Now, apparently, within 30 days of them being allowed to travel, they are supposed to be returning to Romania to face these accusations, though I highly doubt that they're going back. However, when they landed in Florida, it seemed to come as a bit of a surprise to one governor, Ron DeSantis. And I was kind of surprised a little bit at DeSantis's remarks when they landed, but more surprised I guess, at the Florida AG. So give me a second here. Let me figure out where we going, because there's a lot of stuff on this here doc. So let's go ahead and get into the comments from the Florida Attorney General, who confirms that there is a criminal investigation open now in Florida against the Tate brothers. Florida also has very repressive laws on the books against trans and LGBTQ people. I just wanted to put two of those things out here. So, Will, let's go ahead and listen to what the Republican Attorney General from Florida has to say concerning this criminal, be clear, criminal investigation now open in the state against the Tate brothers. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, look, these guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, preying upon women around the world. Many of these victims coming forward, some of them minors, people can spin or defend however they want. But in Florida, this type of behavior is viewed as atrocious. We're not going to accept it. They chose to come here and set their feet down in this state and work through every tool we have within our legal authority to hold them accountable. So we are in the process today. We have secured and executed subpoenas and warrants, and we're going to continue to move forward with full force of law. This is an ongoing criminal investigation, and we're going to use every tool we have to ensure that justice is served.
Do you open a criminal investigation?
There is an active criminal investigation, yes.
Do you believe that can you give me any details of what?
I can't comment on a pending investigation, but what I can tell you is if these guys did criminal activity here in Florida, we will go after them with the full force of law and hold them accountable.
So the statements there from the Florida Attorney General confirming that there is a criminal investigation open. And Andrew Tate, again, y'all, I know the name. I know Nick Fuentes. I know all these douchebags' name, but I can't force myself to consume this content because, it makes you want to hold it underwater until it stops moving, right? Andrew Tate, however, since arriving back stateside, has been doing the rounds on the podcasts, right? And it was impossible for me to search for clips about him without stumbling across Candace Owens clips. You guys, I do not ever, never in history ever watch anything that Candace Owens has to say, but I couldn't avoid these clips because they kept popping up in my search. And apparently he was on her program, and I guess after appearing on her program, her viewers must have brought it to her attention about these many rape accusations. And of course, when you have a self-hating woman, a woman who has internalized misogyny, who is always going to throw on a cape for especially men of her political ilk, she was sounding like the goofball I always imagined her to be. And the excuse that she raised when it came to why would you platform a fucking rapist, alleged rapist on your platform? Her excuse was, oh, well, he hasn't been convicted of anything. There's no convictions. She went on to reference the 4 credible accusations coming out of the UK. What's the name of the barrister? It's the Crown Prosecutor Service, the CPS. The Crown Prosecutor, when Andrew Tate was initially accused of rape, I believe in 2015, 4 women had came forward to make accusations, and the prosecutors declined to press charges. And Candace Owens used that to justify why it was acceptable for her to have a proud hater of women and someone who has been credibly accused by multiple women of assault and human trafficking. Her excuse is there's been no convictions, there's been no charges. So obviously he's not guilty. And this is where I depart from this plane of so-called reality, because prosecution in the criminal justice system, be it in the United States or in the UK, wherever white men are at the top of the social hierarchy, whenever wealthy white men are even at a higher point of that social hierarchy, really at the apex, justice is fungible. If you got the money, the influence, and the connections, an investigation may or may not happen. A prosecution may or may not go forward. When you're talking about moneyed white men, the rules are different. And trust me, lack of prosecution does not equal innocent. It means they weren't charged. It doesn't mean they didn't do it. And as prevalent as rape and sexual assault are globally, right? We know a small fraction of actual sexual assaults are ever reported. A fraction. Okay. So what does that tell us? That tells me, anyway, we have a literal world full of abusers walking around free simply because there was no outcry about their abuse. It doesn't mean they didn't fucking do the shit. And only a fucking goofball bitch would sit up there and say some shit like that and platform and happily welcome a misogynist and a credibly accused rapist onto their platform as a welcome guest. And to throw and to make an even finer point on it, I've said this a lot. A successful predator, meaning a predator who is able to have multiple victims, will have multiple victims, right? One predator can harm an innumerable amount of victims, right? And it appears as though this could be the case for this person, for the Tate brothers. And tragically, this kind of manospheric on HGH, this manosphere on extra testosterone, on the steroids, manosphere on roids, has been able to permeate the political sphere and the political dialogue, right? Trump himself is an outgrowth of the manosphere. And the fact that Andrew Tate is a Trump supporter shouldn't surprise anybody. The fact that Trump would use his influence to also assist an accused sexual abuser shouldn't surprise anybody, because birds of a feather fucking flock together. They look out for each other. That's part of the reason why predators are usually so successful, because they help each other out, right? They give each other cover. And Trump supporting Tate and all of these policies surrounding the stripping away of women's bodily autonomy in America, the anti-trans bills in America, the laws, the anti-gay laws in America, the attempts to roll back gay marriage and interracial marriage at the Supreme Court level. These are in part issues that have come out of the manosphere over the past 10 years. And it is really frightening to know that persons like Andrew Tate and fucking Matt Walsh and all these goddamn douchebags are literally invited guests of the US president, of the Speaker of the House. And these ideas are not recoiling Republicans. In fact, they're embracing them with open arms. And that is a bit terrifying. But I wanted to circle back here to Andrew Tate specifically again. Wanted in the UK for allegedly assaulting 4 women, scheduled to reappear in Romania to face the allegations of human trafficking. By the way, here's what the human trafficking apparently entails, because Andrew Tate is one of those pickup artist experts of the manosphere. He has 2 schools, Hustlers University and the War Room, in which these poor incels, maybe I shouldn't call them poor, but these little no pussy getting motherfuckers, these incels, pay money so Andrew Tate can instruct them on how to game women, how to sleep with a lot of women. And one of his hustles, his grips of Hustler University, is I think they call it the lover boy playbook or something along those lines, where a man pursues a woman unbeknownst to her. He has an agenda. He wants to get her to fall in love with him so he can basically exploit her to do sex work in some way. Now, Andrew Tate is alleged to have these many girlfriends who he wined and dined and, got them to want to be in a relationship with him. And then he would pressure them, allegedly, into cam work, right? Video cam work. You should know what that is. And that is coercion. And that is absolutely human trafficking and sex trafficking. Really, it's pimping, because that's exactly what the pimps do. Pimps find a young woman coming off the bus at the bus station. Oh, baby, let me help you out. Let me get you something to eat. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be your man. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Love bomb her, provide her needs, material needs or whatever. Make her believe that she's in exclusive relationship with this man. And then he turns her out. Well, if you love me, you would do this. You would sell yourself for money because we need to eat. You know what I'm saying? We got bills, and that is absolutely a form of human trafficking, of sex trafficking. And that's partially what Andrew Tate is accused of doing. But in addition to his own alleged heinous acts, and again, I'm you guys understand, I'm being very deliberate when I say accused and alleged. For the record, in my opinion, he did all that shit. Okay, all of it, everything that he's accused of, he did. And I'm gonna tell you why. In my opinion, again, I got a journalism my words here, because everybody ain't lying. That's my take. The rules of ratios make it so. Okay, the rules of math make it so. If this man has 25 accusers, everybody ain't lying. Everybody don't want to check. Some people indeed want justice, whatever the fuck that looks like. If it's a deplatforming, if it's jail, I don't know, but everybody ain't lying. Let me put that there. Andrew Tate's rhetoric, however, the Manosphere rhetoric at large, very dangerous. Trans people at large, very not dangerous. Trans people themselves, a very small part of the population, an even smaller fraction of crimes committed, especially crimes committed against women, girls, and children. Okay. But when it comes to the rhetoric of the Manosphere, this misogynistic, man on top, alpha male, beta male, whatever the phraseology is, it has real life consequences. It actually inspires real men in the world to violence. And in the UK, a person who was known as the crossbow killer, and you can very easily deduce why he is called the crossbow killer, was sentenced in connection with, I believe, 3 murders. But plot twist, guess who the crossbow killer had in his earbuds when he decided to take 3 lives? Will, I'm sorry, I know I skipped over a video. Can we go to that video next, please? Can we play that one? Thank you.
Killer Carl Clifford watched Andrew Tate videos before murdering his ex-partner, her sister, and her mother, a court's been told. The 26-year-old's been found guilty of raping Louise Hunt on the day he murdered her. 4 women who've accused Tate of rape, claims he denies, have said it's a wake-up call for social media companies to remove Tate from their platforms. They've also called it a warning to take violence against women seriously. Prosecutors said the violent misogyny promoted by Andrew Tate fueled Clifford's attacks.
That clip from ITV. And yeah, the crossbow killer, before killing his ex-partner, her sister, and her mom, is that what it was? Before killing 3 women, was streaming and listening to Andrew Tate programming, listening to his show, his content. For what? For inspiration? Was it kind of like listening to Eye of the Tiger before you go on a run? Like he was looking for that juice to that, what the kids say, to put the battery pack in his back. That's what he was listening to go take the lives of 3 women. He's been sentenced to multiple consecutive life terms without the ability for, I think they call it over in the UK, early release considerations. This crossbow killer is going to be in jail for a while. But that's an Andrew Tate acolyte. That's who Andrew Tate inspires, right? and all of the Manosphere. And I happen to be watching TMZ today. Judge away. They had on the show two Texas legislators. Maybe I'll talk about this on Friday. They had on the show these two Texas legislators who have proposed a bill in Texas, making it so that trans people have to identify on state ID and state documents. They have to identify with their gender assigned at birth. And if they don't, let's say if you have a person who was assigned male at birth and then transitions to a woman, if they have on their documents or if they try to legally change their sex to female, that will be considered fraud. And in Texas, these two legislators want to make this a felony. Okay. And this douchebag on TMZ, he started listing off the instances in which trans folks have been accused of sexual assault. There was an instance in Northern Virginia in Loudoun County, maybe 2 years ago, where a student, a born male, but who identified themselves as trans, was accused of sexual assault of one girl at one high school. And then the student was just reassigned to a different high school where they allegedly assaulted another young woman in the bathroom. And because this predatory student said they were trans, it was seized upon by the right, and using this one person as justification for all of the hate and all of the targeting of trans folks in either school settings or in, otherwise public policy, right? And it's like, and the douchebag from on TMZ, the Texas legislator, kept saying, we have to protect our daughters. We have to protect our daughters. We have to protect our girls. And I'm like, why aren't y'all protecting them from their regular ass male classmates? not the trans kids. If we were to really examine how often girls, let's say in a school setting, are sexually assaulted and abused, I would venture 99 times out of a fucking 100, maybe 100 out of 100, it's another cisgender, hetero little boy doing that to a little girl. It's not a trans girl or a trans woman waiting in the bathroom for an unsuspecting teenage girl to come in and abuse them. That's not how this works. And this whole trans people are dangerous. They're harmful. They're groomers to our children. Have y'all motherfuckers met Andrew Tate? Have you consumed any of his content? Do you listen? Because I assure you, Andrew Tate has way more influence on the actions and thinking of these school-aged boys than the so-called trans identity or the gay agenda, right? Girls and women are in more harm and danger from regular ass straight men who dress like men, who present as men, who look like men, who talk like men. That's the danger, baby. Not the little soft child who was born a boy and now wants to be a girl. Not that little soft being. No, I don't. Nope. Numbers don't bear it out. Common sense doesn't fucking bear it out. So while trans people are under attack, while in the state of Iowa, it is now law that trans people do not have civil rights, you have to be ready. I understand. I know some folks, especially maybe of my generation and older, if you come from a socially conservative background, and I don't mean Republican, I mean regular Black Christian, right? Or Black Muslim, or you know what I'm saying? It's that ideology that usually rejects homosexuality, right? Some of those folks who come from those backgrounds may be disinclined to speak up or take up for trans people in this moment. And the reason you have to is because it won't end with trans people. All of the things that this government is trying to do, erasing Black history, and erasing women's history, Indigenous history, gay history, Asian people's history, Latino history, the contributions that marginalized groups have made to this raggedy ass fucking colony of a country. trans erasure is going to result in the erasure of all of that. Okay. And they're going to put it on the books. It's going to be some 3/5 compromise. It's going to be some 1850 fugitive act shit. Like, we can't even really have the imagination for what is possible, but they're testing it on the trans people. And if everybody else just stands by, sits on their hands, shrugs their shoulders, what am I going to do? Well, I don't agree with the lifestyle. I don't think men should be dressing like women. Okay. Do you think you should have freedom? Do you think you shouldn't be compelled to live your life in a particular way because it may offend morally some fucking douchebag in a legislature who has never met you, never interacted with you, knows nothing about you or where you come from? No, we can't stand by and watch that. And we also cannot stand by and let credibly accused sexual abusers skate with no consequence. And if you happen to watch Candace Owens, surely y'all can't watch Candace Owens and watch me. That's impossible. Though if you do, you gotta let her know, baby, why you caping for the rapist? Well, she was a Trump supporter, so that's a dumb question. Never mind. I guess that's part of Candace's shtick. She takes up for the rapist. I mean, Trump's her boy, right? So surely she doesn't have a problem with rape, rapists, rapers, child abusers, sex traffickers. I can only assume that by continuing to platform and support such persons, that these are behaviors that she herself doesn't have a problem with. And let me tell you something, baby, more dangerous, or possibly maybe not more, but maybe as dangerous as a predatory abuser man is a fucking pick me caping ass bitch who don't have nothing bad to say about what the man folk do. And you need to let a man be a man. Jesus. That's a phrase that sends a chill down my goddamn spine. Let a man be a man. Oh my God. Please don't. Please stop him from being a man. Please and thank you anyway. Hold on. Where are we going next here? I got a stack deck full of stories. Y'all come on in here. So okay. That's the viewer poll story. You're welcome. And I'm mad at every single one of y'all that voted for Andrew Tate because y'all made me go down right-wing rabbit holes, and I don't like to do that. I used to be passively interested in the thoughts of conservatives, and when I was a child, I did do childish things. But when I became a woman, I set the childish things aside, and I don't give a fuck what the conservatives be talking about. But god damn, I'm furious at y'all right now. But thank you. Thank you guys for participating in our fundraiser. Wait, where am I going here next? Okay. Do me a favor, guys. Like the video. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Because on Friday, when we launched the fundraiser, we also had a call-in show. And one of our wonderful viewers and one of our wonderful supporters, Musa, called up here and told me that I needed to check out a story about Sam Nordquist. Hold on, let me get my doc together here. Because when we talk about trans hate, and guys, y'all know, I mean, the reason I even speak on LGBTQ issues is because I just don't like the treatment that gay people get. And this shit don't make sense to me. Like, in the same way, I don't really understand anti-Semitism. I mean, I understand it. I can define it, but it's not logical to me. This shit don't make no fucking sense. And homophobia also doesn't make any sense. Transphobia also doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like, but why are you minding other people's genitals business? It's like people that be so concerned about the gay agenda, gay, trans. I'm like, y'all are too concerned with other people's genitals and what they are doing with their genitals. It's weird energy. But in addition to transphobia and homophobia being obviously weird energy, it translates into hate. And this rhetoric that comes from the Manosphere space, that comes from the family first space, right? Where the women is probably getting beat in that family first, right? Not allowed to take birth control in that family first, right? But the targeting of trans folks manifests itself into real world consequences. And I want to thank Musa for encouraging us to cover the story of Sam Nordquist. You guys, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Now, this story began late 2024. Sam Nordquist is a 24-year-old trans man from the Minneapolis, Minnesota area. Sam was catfished by a woman in New York State. And then in late 2024, Sam traveled from Minneapolis to upstate New York. I want to say the name of the town is called Kennedago. It's up there between Rochester and Syracuse. And Sam was catfished by a woman whom he believed was interested in him, interested in a relationship with him. I even think he categorized their relationship as one of the woman being his girlfriend. And his family was aware that Sam was traveling to upstate New York, but around the first of the year, the family became concerned because they hadn't heard from Sam in a number of weeks. And in fact, they called New York State law enforcement to go do a welfare check on Sam. And tragically, I think in early February, Sam Nordquist remains were found. And now 7 people have been charged in connection with Sam Nordquist's murder. And the prosecutors, I think this is Ontario County, New York, prosecutors said that this was the worst murder case that they have ever seen. It was the most, and again, my apologies for not issuing initial content and trigger warnings, because it's dehumanizing and reprehensible what was done to this young person. And it's also a bit reprehensible in spite of charges coming fairly swiftly against the 7 people accused of murdering Sam. I kind of disagree with the tone taken from the district attorney, because the district attorney, we're going to play some clips here, but the district attorney is declining to include a hate crime enhancement on these murder charges. And I'll let them give their explanations as to why they don't want to do that. But first, we are going to start with a package. And though it didn't have to be, because Black trans women, especially tragically, are murdered regularly, unfortunately, more often by Black men. But in this case, it would appear to me, y'all can judge for yourselves, that all of the 7 persons who are accused of murdering Sam Nordquist are all white. And Sam was not white, I don't think. but let's go ahead and take a look at the package. We're also going to hear from the prosecutor on the back end, explaining why they are not seeking hate crime enhancements along with these murder charges. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Human being could do what happened to Sam. We'll never make sense of this case.
Less than a month after Sam Nordquist from Oakdale, Minnesota, was found dead in a field in New York, the Ontario County District Attorney's Office charged 7 people with first-degree murder for his death.
It specifically requires that we prove that all 7 defendants tortured Sam Nordquist and that they did so because they enjoyed it. That's what murder in the first degree is.
According to the indictment, between January 1st and February 2nd at Patty's Lodge Motel in Hopewell, New York, Sam was physically and sexually assaulted. He was also forced to eat feces and drink urine, prevented from using his phone, denied proper nutrition and hydration, and had bleach poured on him.
They physically restrained him. They forced him to obey their commands, treating him like a dog.
In addition to second-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping charges against all 7 suspects, Precious Arzuaga, Sam's online girlfriend that he traveled to New York to see, is charged with first-degree coercion for compelling 2 children to assist in the torture.
We have a 7-year-old and a 12-year-old who are also victims. They may have been forced to participate, but their lives are forever changed by what they saw and endured in there.
Prosecutors say there is no indication of any prior victims to Sam. If convicted, the defendants face a sentence of life without parole.
Bigger than a hate crime. What human being could do what happened to Sam? Count 1 charges each and every one of these 7 defendants with murder in the first degree. This is New York's most significant and serious charge, and it carries with it the possibility of a sentence of life without parole. It specifically requires that we prove that all 7 defendants tortured Sam Nordquist and that they did so because they enjoyed it. Sam was confined. He was forced to kneel and stand against a wall. He was physically assaulted. He was sexually assaulted. He was prevented from using his phone. He was denied proper nutrition and hydration. He was fed feces. He was forced to drink urine and chew spit. They physically restrained him. They forced him to obey their commands, treating him like a dog. They covered his face with towels and shirts and fabric. They used duct tape, and they poured bleach on him. There have been a number of questions throughout the prosecution and investigation in this case as to whether or not this constitutes a hate crime. I'm here to tell you today that we charge the highest count that is available under New York state law, and this case is bigger than a hate crime. A hate crime would make this charge about Sam's gender or about Sam's race, and it's so much bigger. To limit us to a hate crime would be an injustice to Sam. Sam was beaten, assaulted, sexually abused, starved, held captive, and we cannot make sense of that. We cannot put that on his gender, and we cannot put that on his race.
You can put it on a number of things. First of all, you can put it on the depravity and inhumanity of the 7 people accused of torturing and murdering Sam, but you could absolutely say that these people did this to Sam Nordquist because of their gender identity, right? And because of their race. And I want to say maybe it's strategic for the prosecutor not to pursue a hate crime charge. I'm not exactly familiar with the hate crime statutes are in New York City. New York State. I know sometimes the Department of Justice will undertake federal charges in civil rights violations, which obviously Sam's civil rights were grossly violated here. But because Sam is a trans man and the Trump administration is deeply anti-trans, I sincerely doubt that any federal prosecution of hate crime or violation of civil rights will come from the federal level. But this was a hate crime, period, point blank. There's no way around that. All 7 defendants range in age between 19 and 38 years old. All right, guys, I want you guys to just sit with that for a second, okay? We're talking about relatively young folks, right? Everybody under 40, 7 adults under the age of 40 decided to participate in the luring of this person across state lines, the kidnapping, the detaining Sam without him letting him go free, and the horrific abuse that Sam endured. This was done by young folks, y'all. I understand young people are capable of fucked up shit. They are a reflection of the society in which they were cultivated in, right? But because this anti-trans rhetoric has been going on steady for at least the past decade, you're talking about people, these 7 defendants, who have been hearing this rhetoric for either half their life or a third of their life. And words sink in, attitudes sink in, resentments, bigotry, all of that sinks in, even if they weren't taught transphobia or homophobia at home. It has been percolating so much in pop culture, in political talk spheres, especially on the right. I mean, we can absolutely make certain assumptions about what Ontario County, New York State is like when it comes to diversity and acceptance of non-Christian, non-white folks, right? Non-hetero folks. We can absolutely make some assumptions there. But it's grotesque and it's disturbing and troubling because I'm fearful that attacks against trans folks are gonna escalate. Again, usually when trans people are murdered, it doesn't make national news. We don't get the hashtags for them. We don't get say their name campaigns. And that is taken up broadly by the community where everyone is screaming the name of the slain trans person. Like that usually doesn't happen. And there's still, even because there's still a disconnect, right? They're still othered. I would even imagine, even in so-called radical spaces, progressive spaces, there's still a bunch of othering of trans folks, and people are uncomfortable speaking up and speaking out. And I'm just worried for our trans brothers and sisters. And to be clear, Sam didn't do anything wrong. But we live in fucked up times, guys. And unfortunately, we are not going to be able to rely on our fellow humans to treat us with reciprocal respect as another human, right? So we have to protect ourselves. And this is period, point blank, regardless of who you're attracted to. Please don't go traversing across multiple state lines to go meet up with your boo. It's not a good idea, especially if you've never met your boo. And I'm not trying to be flippant about Sam's situation at all. Like I'm trying to tell some real common sense auntie fucking advice. Born in 1978 advice, y'all. Just because you've been rapping with somebody via DM, via text message, blah, blah, blah. Y'all been talking for a month, 6 months, a year. That's all you are doing is sending messages with a person. You don't know them. You've not laid eyes on them. You do not know where they lay their head. You don't know anything about them. You know you get a notification with their name on it, and that's it. And because our society is so antisocial, right? I feel so bad for, especially for younger generations, because they take these DMs, these text messages, these Snapchats, whatever the fuck, they take that shit as intimacy, right? Like, oh, that's my friend. That's been my friend for 2 years. Have you ever met this friend? You ever seen this friend in person? You actually know that the person that's on the other end of that account is who they say they are. Like there's too many unknowns with creating relationships, serious, intimate relationships online. And not to say that people don't do it and have successful ones. They absolutely do. And then there are others who create these online relationships, who build, I got to call it fake intimacy, right? Because if one person is faking on the other end, and tragically the dupe, the person being catfished, believes that everything is on the up and up, and in the, like it is fake. if only the relationship only needs for one person to be faking it for it to be fake, right? And the problem is, if you are the catfishee, you may not know that you're being faked out. And you cannot put your life on hold. You cannot put your life on risk to go have an in-person meeting with somebody in their location, and you don't know what their intentions are, and you really don't know what kind of people they are. And again, Sam is not to fault in this, but what we have to do is be able to learn lessons from the tragedy that befell Sam. What can we take away from it in order to protect ourselves, in order to protect, again, all of ourselves, but in this case, our trans brothers and sisters in particular. And I know it's hard for trans people sometimes to find love. And when they find it or believe that they found it, they get excited and dive into it wholeheartedly. And that's just not safe, beloveds. It's not safe We don't live in safe times. We live in the kind of times where it's easy to conceal your identity or conceal your intentions. And someone could just be waiting in the wings for a piece of prey, a person who is vulnerable, lonely, to stroll into their DMs and to make a victim out of them. So thankfully, first-degree murder charges have been levied against now these 7 defendants, and we will keep you posted as what happens. But we want to send love to Sam Nordquist's family, to Sam Nordquist's friends, and to the whole trans community. We see you. We will support you and defend you. Okay? Period. That's it. Let me take a quick break here. I would like to invite Will when Will gets a moment. Take your time, Will. Take your time. I know you got to turn Martin down. But I thought I saw a box or two. I do want to, especially if our members have something to say, I would love to acknowledge them. Thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thanks to everyone that watched the Remix Morning Show this morning on Black Liberation Media. Always a good time. Hello, Will.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, pretty boy? Playboy?
We ain't got no super chats yet,
No.
but we are still holding our March Madness. Our goal is, though, let me throw up the goal.
Throw up the goal.
Let's get this goal going, okay?
Can I tell you,
So
Will?
go.
My dumb ass literally last night, I'm laying in bed 2:00 in the morning. I go, oh, March Madness. The basketball tournament. I'm thinking March Madness because America in 2025. I'm like, oh, well, yes, it is March and this is madness. And then I used to be a sports head, so I know about March Madness, but this shit went way over my head until last night. I said, oh, March Madness, double entendre. I see what you did there, Molly. So anyway, I'm sorry.
She really living the burn it down life, bro. It's okay. Pray for her. Do something. Palo Santo, sage, something. So Molly arranged for us so we can get some funds and things going. So our next goal for Friday is so that's March 11th through the 14th. If we get 15 new members or patrons, Kim will make a special playlist with their favorite music for the members and patrons. Excuse me.
Well, damn. So, okay, I can do that too. I got playlists on playlists.
Yep. So 15. So that's possible.
So that's 15 channel members.
15 channel members, but preferred patrons.
Patrons. Okay.
We prefer some patrons. But we accept the love. We accept the love,
Molly also said, because Molly makes the rules. Molly also said that it can be existing patrons who choose to up their membership, right? So if you're at the $2 level, if you want to up it to the $5 level, that's acceptable. We'll take it. So thanks so much.
I like that too. Yeah. Actually, that's a great idea, Molly. Molly's our chat GPT. So so nothing right now. We do got 59 people. And we got our favorites in the chat. Musa,
thank you guys.
Shout out to Musa.
Hey, what's up, Musa? Thanks for coming through.
Of course, Latif, Afraid Not, Rosalba. We holding it down on Twitch. So
appreciate.
We got a lot of other people too. Stoner Loner, yeah. But
hey, Damien,
keep please share it to some people till you get on their nerves and they block you.
Don't see that. Try not to do that. But thank you, Will. Thank you so much.
Once every, go ahead. All right. But like and subscribe. See y'all later.
Appreciate you, pimp. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Y'all, wait, DJ Vesper X actually cashed apped us some bucks. So thank you, Vesper, for your support. I appreciate that. We're gonna get you squared away here, baby. So give me a second. Pushing the buttons, it comes with its challenges, right? So Another story that we had left up to the Verge, had to do with the Black Lives Matter mural in Washington D.C. coming down. It was funny because right before we went on air, like, I have it on the dock and Will was pulling the clips and he was like, "Yeah, bro, I heard they about to pull down the Black Lives Matter mural, yo." And I said, "My brother," I said, they took it down. They took that shit down yesterday, Monday. Wait, hold on. Let me get my dates together because the dates are going to be pretty important in this story. Today is the 11th, Tuesday. Monday, March the 10th. DC Department of Transportation was out there on 16th Street, right in front of the White House, because there's a 2-block section that had been closed to traffic in 2020 in the aftermath of the George Floyd uprisings that were happening across the country. In fact, here in DC, there were a number of people who also were murdered by police that year, including Karan Hilton Brown. The cops that killed him were convicted, at least one of them was, of second-degree murder. And these are the punk-ass police that Trump pardoned. So 2020 was a lot. And in response to everything that was happening that summer, in response to the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and others, tragically, liberal Democratic politicians were doing these symbolic gestures, as was the corporations. We're gonna increase our diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and initiatives. We're gonna do DEI. We're gonna. And these Democratic elected officials were doing something similar, taking down the Confederate statues, et cetera, et cetera. And Muriel Bowser, who is the mayor of DC, designated 2 blocks of 16th Street as Black Lives Matter Plaza, where an artist was commissioned to paint these giant letters, Black Lives Matter. It was a meeting space for protesters, activists, organizers, especially when the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, came to DC, terrorized the city and its residents. And this was before January 6th, by the way. And Black Lives Matter Plaza was a rallying point for city residents and people that were coming to support Black people in the DC area. But last week, Thursday, so Monday was the motherfucking 10th, 9, 8, 7, 6. Thursday the 6th, we're going to play a clip because the week of March the 6th, the city of DC was threatened by a GOP House member, threatened to pull federal funding for the district if the district didn't change the name of Black Lives Matter Plaza to Liberty Plaza. Wrote this down, okay? The congressperson did. Proposed this. And Muriel Bowser was asked about it. And I want us to hear some comments. But first, what we're going to hear is from the Black woman artist who actually installed the artwork for Black Lives Matter Plaza. And this was the pulse and this was the scene of the day, Monday the 10th, when Black Lives Matter Plaza came down in Washington, D.C. Let's take a listen.
That story is never going to be washed away. It will forever be with us.
A poignant moment for Kiana Jones as she looks at her work at Black Lives Matter Plaza.
It's bittersweet, right?
She painted the 2-block stretch on 16th Street Northwest in June 2020. The space was created after the death of George Floyd as a place for both protests and healing.
That's what art is about. It's about creating. It's about having hard conversations, and you can create again. So it's never gone forever.
In a statement on Tuesday, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said the district will paint over the mural that stands 1 block from the White House. Today, she explained why.
We have bigger fish to fry than fights over what has been very important to us and to their history, and especially in our ability to keep our city safe during that time. That mural played a very important part.
Kiana, who is a Southeast D.C. native, understands the mayor's decision.
People have been losing jobs. There have been budget cuts. There's been a lot that's been going on. And to have to fight for this and potentially lose a lot of funding that we definitely need right now, I understand that we have to make a choice, and sometimes art may not be it.
So at this moment, Kiana is choosing to reflect on the impact that her work made.
It speaks for itself. People travel the world to see this.
Including civil rights leader and former Georgia Congressman John Lewis, who made his last public appearance at Black Lives Matter Plaza in June 2020 before he died 1 month later.
It's a moment in history that can't be erased. I'm so honored and grateful to be a part.
She says while her work may be washed away physically, it will always be a part of her spirit that she leaves in her hometown.
Yeah, it can't be washed out. Exactly. Can't wash me out, baby.
As for what the new name will be, part of Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde's bill calls for the new name to be Liberty Plaza. When asked about it today, Mayor Bowser simply said she does not support the congressman's bill. At Black Lives Matter Plaza, I'm Melissa Kim, WUSA 9.
Thanks, Melissa. So you guys saw it there. So you heard from the artist, you heard from some residents, you heard that clip from DC Mayor Muriel Bowser when asked about, I can only assume she was asked whether she would fight or even refuse to change the name or to remove Black Lives Matter from the plaza on 16th Street. And what did Muriel Bowser say? She said, "We have bigger fish to fry. We have to focus on protecting the city." What she means by that is federal funding for DC has been threatened. Home rule for DC has been threatened by the Trump administration and by the GOP Congress. But may I just let me stick this in here real quick, okay? DC's autonomy, DC's ability to lead and govern itself, because DC, just for y'all that don't know, the District of Columbia operates a little different, okay? For all intents and purposes, DC is a fucking city and a state at the same time. DC residents pay federal taxes. They also pay District of Columbia taxes, okay? Everything that Washington has, its police department, its school system, its public services are funded by DC resident dollars, DC tax dollars. This is not a federal funding endeavor. DC is not funded by the federal government. No, DC collects and levies taxes on its residents and pays for all of its shit on its own, okay? But the funding that DC does get involves, like, for example, DC does require federal funding for big events such as inauguration. When heads of state come to the city, DC and the Secret Service usually provide security. So there are functions that the city of Washington provides for the federal government, and the federal government does some reimbursement, okay? But to be clear, DC by and large pays for itself by itself, and Washington residents do not have any voting members in Congress. They have Eleanor Holmes Norton, who is a delegate, but she does not have any voting powers in the House of Representatives. So if you ever come to Washington, D.C. and you see the license plates that say taxation without representation, that's exactly what that means, okay? D.C. residents are second-class citizens, basically, in the United States, okay? So when Muriel Bowser says, I have to protect the security of the city, she means she's trying to hold on to the federal funding or that DC does get. And by the way, Congress can approve or disapprove DC's budget. They have a lot of control over DC. And by the way, just as a set aside, a footnote, under the Biden administration, the DC City Council passed a bill, a crime reform bill, to reform the DC criminal code. And under President Joe Biden, a Democrat, yes, a Democrat, refused that, did not allow the DC City Council, who was elected by the voters of Washington, to enact their own law and to change their own criminal code. Okay, so it is not only Trump, but it's also Democrats when they get in office. They kneecap Washington, DC, and its ability to govern itself and to determine its own laws. Okay, so I just want to be clear about that. DC gets fucked by Democrats and Republicans alike. But Muriel Bowser, in my opinion, preemptively bent the knee when it came to Black Lives Matter Plaza, because the art installation was put there when Trump was fucking president, right? So it wasn't like she did it to be a thorn in the side of Donald Trump. She was ready to be a resistor then. But now she capitulated early because she doesn't want to fuck up DC's budget, DC's this, DC's that. Okay. That was last week. Okay. That was March the 6th. Let me take you to March the 10th. Let me take you to March the 10th, because what was going on? The federal government is in jeopardy of shutting down because the Republicans, who are in control of both chambers of Congress, cannot fucking find their ass with a goddamn flashlight in the hot sun. They were really having a hard time passing a budget. And so as part of the continuing resolution to keep the government funded, to basically keep the federal government open, a provision was added in the House version of the continuing resolution to basically withhold $1.1 billion of funding from the District of Columbia. What does that mean? Again, it's $1 billion of the district's money, not the federal government's money, but because the district requires its budgets to be approved by Congress, they still have to go to Congress hat in hand. Massa, can you please approve our budget for fiscal year 2025? Massa, please. Massa, please. I know this is our money, Massa, but we need y'all to say yes. And because this piss poor ass fucking incompetent Congress can't pass a new budget, Washington is relying on its previous fiscal year numbers. So it's a little convoluted and complicated, but the long and the short of it is Muriel Bowser agreed to take down Black Lives Matter Plaza, and the district is now being screwed out of $1 billion in funding anyway. Why did you comply? Oh, because you had bigger fish to fry. You had to worry about the funding. Well, they fucked your funding anyway. Hold on, let me play the clip because I'm about to get upset. I want y'all to take a look at this story. Oh, because it's a story. Because again, even the news evolved a little bit tonight before we came on the air, because the Congress was able to pass a continuing resolution, and DC is now going to be officially screwed out of $1.1 billion. But we'll go ahead and run the package, please.
Tonight, D.C. could lose more than $1 billion in its current budget by the end of this week if Congress approves the current funding bill on the table. And today, D.C. leaders went to Capitol Hill to try to stop this. 7 News' Christian Flores is live for us on the Hill. So, Christian, the big question tonight, how is Congress able to do this?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. First, Congress always has final approval over all of DC's budgets, but also they folded this budget into their spending bill that they actually need to pass before the end of this week to avert a government shutdown. Now, this latest version cuts around $1.1 billion out of the DC budget. Now, earlier today, a group of DC council members and Mayor Bowser went to Capitol Hill, even visiting House Speaker Mike Johnson's office to try to get Congress to reverse course. And here's a twist that has city leaders very concerned. Those cuts are not for future budgets. It's for this current budget. We're already halfway through the year, meaning the city has already spent half of their budget. This means DC has a smaller pool of money to cut from in order to achieve this funding reduction. Officials are already estimating they will need to cut tens of millions of dollars from the police and fire departments, schools, DC Water, and more than $200 million for Metro. Now, we're still awaiting a vote on the stopgap spending bill, but this proposed slashing of DC's budget comes as the city is facing a massive deficit. Well, Mayor, what would you say to a member of Congress who says that this spending reduction would be necessary given the $1 billion deficit forecasted over the next 3 years?
We have an upcoming budget process that will address any spending pressures. We're in that process right now. In about 3 weeks, I'm scheduled to send a balanced budget to the Council of the District of Columbia. And it will be balanced, and it will represent the forecast that our CFO has.
I also asked Mayor Bowser what these cuts could mean for future budgets, as well as if this could actually jeopardize the possibility of a new NFL stadium at the old RFK Stadium grounds. You'll hear what she has to say tonight at 11 on 7 News. Reporting live.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, I appreciate the DC local media focusing on the stories that matter. Will the NFL stadium funding be affected? And I just want to be beamed off the planet. Really, really, that's the concern. Let me tell you what is included in cutting $1 billion from DC's budget. On the upside, it includes about a $75 million cut in the Metropolitan Police Department budget. Yay. It does mean the cops are probably not going to get paid a lot of overtime, which, hey, could be good news for city residents and people coming to visit DC this summer, because it means, you may not have cops fucking bothering you when the club let out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because, what I'm saying, they're not getting paid no fucking overtime. So we may not see a whole lot of polices on the streets this summer. That should be interesting. But also Health and Human Services, DC Public Health, DC Water is going to feel $51 million worth of cuts because of this absence of $1 billion from the DC budget. And I just have to laugh at some of these goofy liberal elected Democrats, the black ones, especially. Let me laugh at the black ones, because you had all the smoke for Trump in the first term. You had all the smoke for Trump when he was running for president. Fascism. We have to stop fascism. We have to protect and defend democracy. Okay. Let's say democracy got defeated in November 2024. So y'all just going to capitulate and roll over to the fascism in order to go along to get along, right? You're going to preemptively comply or comply upon the first ask, right? Because what? You think you're saving yourself? You think if you obey in advance that somehow you'll be spared? That's not how tyranny works. That's not how fascism works. In fact, they know that those that obey even before being asked, or those that obey upon the first request, y'all are the weakest. You're the easiest to manipulate. You're the easiest to comply. And you did, and Muriel Bowser complied, and for what? She gave the crackers what they wanted. They hated, when I say they, the GOP lawmakers, Trump and his White House staff, I can imagine, hated having to see Black Lives Matter painted big and bold as day right outside the White House. Hated that shit. I'm sure Trump said, I'm working on that day one. I'm sure in the back of his mind, that was absolutely one of his priorities. And the Georgia Republican congressperson made it official by putting it, as a provision to be considered as part of the House continuing resolution budget. And look at what they got these goofy black Democrats to do, to go ahead and erase what was a historical memorial marker of a period of Black uprising, not only in the district, but across the country. And these Black Democrats are not going to be the ones to save us. They're not going to be the ones to protect us. They're not going to be the ones to defend us in any way, because they are all go along to get along ass niggas, okay? They want to make sure that their position is secure, will be secured in the future. I'm sure Muriel Bowser, once she leaves office, because I think this is her last term, no question, she's got a cushy K Street job waiting for her somewhere, and she's got to make sure that that's secured and lined up. So she needs to make sure that she plays the game to help secure her own future. And you know what that means? That means she's not interested in securing our future. Okay, that means she's not interested in doing things that actually support and uplift and strengthen the community and strengthen the resistance to white nationalism, which is overt, it is blatant, it is in our face right now. And if Muriel Bowser figured that she could curry a little favor with Donald Trump by erasing the Black Lives Matter Plaza that she created, by the way, because in her words, she has bigger fish to fry. You did that, and for what? To still lose $1 billion from the budget. $1 billion of DC's own money again. The clownery. You hate to see it and you love to see it at the same time. Let me take a quick break. Don't forget, everybody, please engage with the content on the free side. We take the free support as well. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I stopped counting. I don't know where we are in terms of subscribers. I think we're over 7,300. Yeah, somewhere in there. So we still got a little ways to go until we get to 10K. You guys, is mine the slowest growing YouTube channel you've ever seen? And I don't think I suck out here. I don't know. Maybe I do suck. Maybe it is I that is Delulu. Maybe me and Jennifer Lopez have more in common than just being Leos. maybe me and J-Lo is out here delusional together. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I can't worry about that because I can only do what I'm called to do, y'all. I'm a broadcaster, okay? This is what I do. I like to bring the news and some jokes at the same time. So I try to do that, I guess, in the best way I can. If people like it, great. If they don't, well, fuck them. Hold on. I just want to thank, because we got folks that have been riding with us for a long time, and I just want y'all to know that I'm very appreciative of that. Like, it can always be y'all for all I care. Will, don't listen to that. But it can always be y'all, and I will happily come and bring y'all my little stories. So I just want to thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, Rosalba. Thank you, Northern Witch. You guys are over there on Twitch holding it down at BIDWKB. I do have, see, I don't even want to tell y'all I got Twitch turn-ups on deck because y'all know I'm a liar. I do be lying. I do lie. But because a couple of ear doctors and I classical breakdowns have been snatched off the YouTube streets, I do feel compelled to do a Twitch turn-up. And in fact, we are going to post the Twitch turn-ups to Patreon. I don't think they've been published yet, but I knew we have a little playlist going of like 6 or 7 of them Jones, and I'm gonna do another one. I'm ready to do one tomorrow on Roberta Flack, because Ear Doctor and I's classical breakdown on Roberta Flack got pulled from YouTube because they some suckers. And here's the thing, guys. I thought I was a music snob. I thought I was listening to my vinyl with my pinky in the air, being the music snob of music snobs. You niggas don't have taste in music. I have taste in music, right? I'm being the hugest music snob. Here come my dumbass, not knowing hardly anything about Roberta Flack's catalog beyond the great R&B standards, beyond, you know, Feels Like Making Love, and of course the wonderful duets between she and Donny Hathaway. I had no idea Roberta Flack was out here moving through fucking genres and with skill, with a deftness, adroit, I think is a good word. Like, I mean, I'm a music snob, and I was really super impressed with elements of her catalog. So I want to play some songs for y'all that are not Where Is the Love. And again, that's not a diss to Where Is the Love or The Closer I Get to You. No diss, no shots at all to any of them joints. Classic joints. But Roberta had deeper shit than that. She had some great message music. She had some really good storytelling. And then this kind of folk, this black folk thing she was doing. I'm like, yo, like, it's dope. Like, blow my top off, dope sauce. So I got about a solid hour of uncut Roberta Flack for y'all. So please follow us on Twitch at BIDWKB. Set your notifications, set the bells, because when I go, because I don't do it at a scheduled time, because, you know, we ain't that organized over here. But if you set your notifications, I think you'll be happy. I think you'll be happy. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Rosalba, I wanted to do your story. Rosalba is one of our Twitch mods, and Rosalba is a niece of mine. And Rosalba is an organizer. Rosalba is a news hound. Rosalba is about the women's. And I thank you, Rosalba, for bringing me this story because I needed to see this. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown, everybody. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Come join us Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern. So obviously this is a channel that supports and defends Black women, but we support and defend Indigenous women too. We are about the same, right? Only some nuance, some nuanced differences between Black and Indigenous women, but our plights largely mirror each other's here in America. And tragically, the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women, MMIW, is something that's ongoing. And it's reflective of the level of disregard that American society has for Indigenous and Black women and girls as a whole. The documentary about the young white girl, what was the child's name? Gabby Pieto. The beautiful young blonde who was tragically murdered by her partner. But when she was missing, it was national news. It led the news. It was on the Today Show, Good Morning America. Authorities are still trying to search for Gabby Pieto. And why was that? Because she was white, because she was young, she was blonde, she was pretty, she was a social media influencer. But the story of 14-year-old Emily Pine from Mesa, Arizona, actually, Emily is an Apache girl. I believe she was raised on the Apache res there in Arizona. And tragically, 14-year-old Emily, did I say Pine? I meant to say Pike. Emily Pike was found unalived in a very brutal and horrific way. And her killer has not yet been found. Police do not seem to have any leads. And her story is so heartbreaking because she was only 14. She went missing from a group home, I believe, in Mesa, Arizona. A group home, by the way, that over the past 3 years, 30 youths have been reported missing from this particular group home. So it doesn't seem they do a very good job of keeping track of the children that are in their care. But the community has come out to rally for 14-year-old Emily Pike. And we need to say her name for a number of reasons. But I mean, this doesn't end, right? The femicide of Black and brown girls and women, it doesn't end. Like, it doesn't stop. And if you're not a sympathetic victim, meaning if you are not white, not blonde, not young, not somebody that mainstream America can feel universal sympathy for, they won't even cover your story. It may not even make national news. But I think this story has begun to percolate. But unfortunately, the killers of a lot of missing and murdered Indigenous women, unfortunately, are never held to account. I'm going to get into a little bit of this a little more, but I want us to take a look at some of the scenes coming out of the valley there in Arizona, because the Indigenous nations have come together to support Emily's family and to call for justice surrounding her murder. So I want us to look at some of the rally scenes, the protest scenes for people calling for justice for Emily Pike. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
like the way how they wrap their stick too.
No more stolen sisters. On stolen land, no one is illegal. And to be honest, guys, I really, first of all, my deepest condolences to Emily's family and her entire nation in her community. Emily Pike had a mother, had a father, has two grandmothers, has a deep extended family. I am not exactly clear why she was in a group home. However, knowing the history of this raggedy fucking colony and its propensity to steal children, people's children, specifically brown and black children, out of their homes, away from their communities. In the case of Indigenous folks, historically sending them off to these residential boarding schools, aka concentration camps, where these children are past and the present joined together here, but where Indigenous children were tortured, abused, maimed, buried on the grounds, many in unmarked graves. We still don't even know how many stolen Indigenous children are resting not in peace at some of the sites of these residential schools. So when I hear of this Native child, this Apache girl in this group home, when she has a mother and father, I can only assume that the state somehow intervened to separate this child from her community, as the American government has been doing for literally hundreds of years. Okay. And also, over the same duration of time, Indigenous women have been stolen, kidnapped, assaulted, brutalized, unalived by people that can come and go in and out of their community, usually without any repercussion. And local authorities in Arizona say that the FBI and the Bureau of Indian Affairs are working in conjunction to help the investigation to find out who murdered this young girl. But tragically, it literally could have been anyone for any reason. Well, let me rephrase. It could have been any man for any reason. It could have been some pedo going after a 14-year-old girl who saw an opportunity to steal her and her life. It could have been some fucking xenophobic wingnut who saw this brown child and thought she was an undocumented migrant, wanted to teach her a lesson. Regardless, this happens far too often, and it goes underreported, if reported at all. And especially in areas where there are oil pipelines being constructed. First of all, most native reservations, unfortunately, in I would not just in the United States, actually in Canada too, because the First Nations people in Canada, First Nations women especially, still very much catching hell from the white men in goddamn Canada. Not just the white, but it predominantly the white men in Canada. In fact, when I saw Rosalba send me the story about Emily Pike, I was put into the mindset of a story that I had bookmarked maybe a week and some change ago from CBC News from Canada about the remains of a First Nation woman in Manitoba that have been discovered, but she is one of several victims of an alleged serial killer that somehow seemed to have unfettered access to the reservations that can come and go as they please. And authorities are reluctant, if not outright resistant, to investigating the murders and investigating the disappearances of these Indigenous and First Nations women. I want us to take a look at this story. We're going to look at this from Canada because the story is the same. North of the border, south of the fucking border. Women and girls are on the menu and we are in danger out here. But depending on age, race, socio-economic demographics, that is all contingent upon how much attention these stories or an individual girl or woman story would receive. But I want us to take a look at this recent story coming out of Canada, specifically out of Manitoba. And again, content warning, trigger warning. This is heavy shit. But we need to be focusing and paying attention on the most marginalized and vulnerable among us, because it's going to be those groups that are going to feel all of the effects of what's going on in society right now. They are going to be the ones to be bearing the brunt of the amplified and accelerated misogyny and violence against women and others. So let us take a listen to the CBC story.
Found in a landfill outside Winnipeg late last month are those of Morgan Harris. Her daughter said on social media that the news was, quote, a very bittersweet moment. Harris was one of 4 First Nations women murdered by serial killer Jeremy Skibicki 3 years ago. The body of another victim, Mercedes Myron, is believed to be in the same landfill. The second set of remains found are yet to be identified.
This is a victory for all Manitobans and their belief in the human rights of Indigenous women and girls and gender diverse people. That's, I think, where we need to start. And for sure, today wouldn't have happened without the collective efforts of many voices. It's an opportunity for society and governments to look at prevention measures so that we're not in this place where we are looking for loved ones in landfills. That we have to put in place processes that support individuals that are vulnerable and targeted.
Within the colony, the colonized are never safe. And I hope that Emily Pike's killer is brought to justice. That's such a trite expression. I wish I could say something a little bit more meaningful and deeper than that, because you know what I really want to happen to him. Whether or not the fucking cops catch up with him, to me, is inconsequential. If he gets his karma for stealing and brutalizing this girl, oh bitch, karma is what the fuck you get. I don't give a goddamn if it happens in the jail cell or not. But I would like to know a name and face of who could have just torn away this beautiful bright light of a child, a 14-year-old, in the spring of her life. And why is it not national news like when Gabby went missing? And again, that's not to diminish Gabby or what happened to her. It's just really an indictment on who is valued in America. There's a hierarchy here. All people are not created equal. Law and justice does not serve all communities or persons equally. And until it does, we can burn this motherfucker all the way down. In a country where 14-year-olds get kidnapped and unalived and don't nobody know shit, burn this whole fucking bitch to the fucking ground tomorrow. But I have held y'all quite some time. Rosalba, thank you, baby. It's after 9 on the East Coast, 6 o'clock in Cali, West Side. What's up? Before I leave you guys, this is actually a Cali-inspired story. And Don Hammond, my nephew, you are the inspiration behind this story, because when I saw this, I was reminded of what Don, my nephew, told us what was going on with the youth, with the kids them in SoCal. I love what's going on in California. The resistance movements in Cali are always top notch. LA County be with the motherfucking shits. I do be loving that shit. And Van Nuys, Don Hammond, is Van Nuys in Orange County? I have no idea where Van Nuys is. I think it's Southern California. And in recent days, middle school and high school students staged a walkout in order to protest the mass deportations that have been happening under the Trump administration. And again, deportations were also happening under Biden. It appears as though Trump is a bit more indiscriminate with his targeting of undocumented persons, telling outright lies that he's going after criminals, when he is absolutely seizing up law-abiding citizens, law-abiding undocumented people who work here, raise their families, take care of themselves, run businesses, run the gamut, trying to live the so-called American dream. These people are just minding their fucking business, and Trump is sending them to parts unknown, depending, right? But the kids see all this, and shout out to the kids for peeping fucking game and for being conscious and organized enough to organize themselves into really about the only action that middle and high schoolers can do. And that is stage a walkout. And I want us to go to the TikTok creator Ant, A-N-T, posted this video speaking to students in Van Nuys, California, during their walkout protest over the mass deportations. Let's take a look. This is our palate cleanser.
What's going on, world? I'm in the heart of Van Nuys, where over 10 different high schools and middle schools walked out of school. Let's go talk to the students.
This struggle is personal to all of us. This struggle is not just affecting.
One second, my G. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. Take your time, Will. Tell me before you play. I'll tap dance for time. Hope you guys are doing well. I want you all to please turn into the Remix Morning Show tomorrow. Black Liberation Media. It's Women's Wednesdays plus Kamau. Kamau love the women. See me downs to be the rooster in the hen house. Tune into that tomorrow. And again, I will try to do a Twitch turn up. I don't know what time. I don't know when's a good time. I know I lie and say about 5 o'clock in the evening. I don't know if I could wait till 5 o'clock in the evening. I might wait till the remix is over and then come bless y'all right around lunchy time. Maybe around lunchtime. We do some Roberta Flack. Ooh, y'all are gonna. I'm about to fuck y'all up with this Roberta Flack. Y'all not ready for this shit. You know how I know y'all not ready? Because I wasn't fucking ready. And I might be the goofball here. Y'all might have been up on all of this shit. Again, I fancy myself a music snob, and then I just how utterly ridiculous I felt. I'm like, you can't be no fucking music snob, Kim. You don't even know about this shit. What kind of snob is you? Talking to me. So my music snobbery is deficient right now. Are you ready to rock and roll? Well, can I reset it up? Can I reset it up? Let me reset it up. All right, guys. So we've had a 2 hours full of very heavy stories tonight, and I wanted to leave us with a quality palate cleanser inspired by my nephew Don Hammond from SoCal, letting us know that the students, the kids, Van Nuys, California, middle and high school students are protesting Trump's horrific mass deportations. These are communities that are being impacted by these deportations. And the kids did what really only kids can do, and that's walk the fuck out of school. And I want to send respect to these kids. And these kids know what time it is, and the kids told the situation as clearly as anyone pretty much could. So let's go ahead and take a look. Van Nuys, California.
Part of Van Nuys, where over 10 different high schools and middle schools walked out of school. Let's go talk to the students.
This struggle is personal to all of us. This struggle is not just affecting our families, but it will affect our futures. We're teaching the world that no matter what age we are, we have a voice. And a lot of adults like to shut us down. A lot of people like to say, we're doing this to get out of school, but really this is the only way that they're going to hear us. This country preaches freedom. It's supposed to be the land of the free. So we're going to make sure that they're held accountable for it.
We as students, we're not going to sit in those classrooms. Meanwhile, this whole thing is ongoing. It's not acceptable. I'm marching for my parents, mom and dad, my older brother too. No necesita vivir en miedo. There's no need to live in fear no more. We're going to stand for you guys here.
Today I decided to walk out to stand in support of not only the other schools that are going to be at the Van Nuys City Hall, but also of my ancestors, of my parents who are immigrants, and of my family who deserves a chance to stay in America. Shout out to my grandma. I know she got deported, but I'm still here for you and I'm still rooting for you. It hurts and it makes me realize how lucky I am to have a citizenship, to actually be here and support, and it really makes me think like I'm speaking for those who care.
Trump is doing this shit like he's fucking deporting people. I'm sorry for the cuss, but like, I had to say this shit because like, bro, it's fucked up what he's doing. Me, I'm not one to play about my family, you know? So I'll do everything it takes to take care of my family, save the community. And if you're hearing this, we love you. And just, you know, just know all the support is for you. And we're here to protest for you. And we love you.
I want to give a shout out to my dad for coming over here, giving me a life that he didn't grow up with. I'm grateful that he was able to give me that life.
You know, at first I was kind of confused on my position. It was actually hard for me because I had a lot of family members who were with, not mass deportation, but they're like, dude, you know, Trump is targeting criminals mainly. But then when I came down to it, I realized I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my grandparents who came here legally. And not to start crime, but to provide a better life for their kids, to provide a better life for me.
It makes me feel proud. It makes me feel happy that there's still kids out here that actually have some sense of humanity. We can make an impact. We're the future. We are the future.
And I'm showing out for my Mexican homies, you know, all the homies that I got around the block and shit. I grew up with the Hispanic culture. I'm just showing out, you know. We all people, and Trump trying to pull people apart. He don't give a fuck about us. He too fucking rich. So fuck Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying?
No hate, no fear. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here. No law. No law. Sanctuary for all. Sanctuary for all. Immigrants are here to stay. Immigrants are here to stay. From Palestine to Mexico. Palestine to Mexico. All the walls have to go.
Okay, so who's here from middle school?
To support the immigrants and show them that nobody has to be illegal. Everybody's fair to be here.
Like they underestimate like us young just because like we're young and like want to speak out. What they don't get is like we're actually trying to like speak out about like our parents being immigrants, not being able to cross the border, having to be taken back to a country where they literally left for a reason. They think like we don't know anything when in reality we actually do know stuff that they don't.
I would like to say be strong, support your community.
And we're all equal in our own way.
Never give up. We're brown and brown.
I would tell my parents that thank you for everything they did, and now I'm going to fight for their future.
All of us are here because our parents are probably working outside, worried that I just gonna take them and then when we're in school, what are we thinking about? We can't even focus on our grades. The only thing we're focusing about is our parents getting taken away by ICE. I'm a middle schooler. I did not go to school today. The school was saying if I ever did come to the protest that the police was gonna give me a ticket. I don't care for that. I'm here because my parents are immigrant parents, and then I don't want this to fear. I sent them messages. Look how beautiful this protest is. I know you guys are scared, but don't worry, because I'm here to support y'all. Other people are here to support y'all. Remember that we're all here together, and we're all gonna be united forever.
my community, I want the city council members to really speak up for us. Right here in Van Nuys, this is a Latino community. Like, how are you not going to do more for your people that you claim to support? We want to push for more protection. Our workers are being exploited right now. Ensuring that Los Angeles protects its people is the main goal, and then we're going on for the world, because honestly it's not impossible. I feel like it's gonna be hard, but if you have the spirit, you have the spirit, and I know lots of people here do, and I know we can do it.
My mom, I'm here for her, and right now that she's working, and I got out of school, that it's all for her. Like, I'm proud of being her daughter, and I'm proud of who she is.
We're just fighting for our community. Like, no matter what country they are, we're fighting for them.
The kids are going to be all right, y'all. Shout out to Gen Alpha. Shout out to Gen Z. I love the energy. Y'all not scared. Y'all are aware. You're conscious. You understand that it's going to take a concerted effort, a fight on all fronts. And I appreciate that y'all not scared to say fuck Donald Trump, because that's what the fuck it is, kids. It's fuck Donald Trump, okay? And it's okay for y'all to say that. Okay, this is supposedly a country where free speech protects you. Criticism of the government is supposed to be every American's right, even afforded to green card holders. They have the rights of civil rights. They have the rights to due process, and they certainly have a right to free speech. And all of those children, I assume, were likely born here, but obviously they're speaking up in support of their parents and their grandparents, their family members who are being subjected to these cruel, random deportations. And for them to even factor in discussion of the workers in the Los Angeles and in Southern California area who are being exploited. All of this is all very relevant. And I appreciate the children being able to factor all of this into the analysis as they were undertaking their action. And we need to support the kids when they do shit like this, y'all. Because number one, y'all know they're not learning shit in school any fucking way. Okay. If the kids want to walk out and protest, clap. Support them. Hand them a bottle of water as they're walking out the goddamn door. Like, nope. Ain't nothing being taught in American public schools right now that is more important than the actual real life applied civil engagement that these kids can be participating in, and they certainly were doing that there in Van Nuys. So credit to the Cali kids, the SoCal kids, Rosalba, Don Hammond, all my SoCal stunners. You know, the kids is going to be all right. I'm always here to rep and to let y'all know, like, my only issue with Gen Alpha and Gen Z is their taste in music. Everything else everything else by and large, I support the children and their actions. So shout out to the kids. And gang, thank you so much. That's a program. We went a little long tonight, but we had some stories to cover. And again, we're in the middle of our spring fundraiser. So help us make it to our next goal, which we are at $500. Our next goal is $800, trying to get to our ultimate goal of $3,000. So you can do that in a myriad of ways, via super chats, via channel memberships, patreon.com/BIDWKB. You can also hit us on the cash platforms at BIDWKB on Venmo, $BIDWKB Cash App, paypal.me/BIDWKB. You can also buy some merch too. Somewhere in our link, somewhere we have a link to our merch. You can get the merch. Hold off on the merch. Don't buy no merch yet. I think I'm gonna put in a promo code and make it worth your while. Since we're doing a fundraiser, maybe let's have a fucking sale. Let's have a sale or some merch, and that's the way y'all can support us. But I want to support you by putting the shit on sale, so don't go buy it yet. Let me put a promo code in there to entice. So anyway, we'll see y'all back here on Friday. Don't forget, Thursday 11 a.m. join me and the Ear Doctor for Classical Breakdown over on Black Liberation Media. We will be running through the amazing catalog of Roy Ayers. Okay, now if you're of a certain age, a younger age, you might be like, who in the hell is Roy Ayers? What song Roy Ayers sing? Roy Ayers don't sing, baby. Roy Ayers sing with his hands. Okay, my man's was on the fucking vibraphone, xylophone, banging the shit out that fucking xylophone and just creating such incredible music, sounds, funk, jazz, R&B, fusion, just gorgeous fucking arrangement of music that was sampled and influenced so heavily by 90s rap and R&B. I mean, Roy Ayers is a legend out here, and we lost him recently at the age of 84. So Ear Doctor and I are going to be revisiting Roy Ayers' catalog. Trust me, even if you think you know 0 songs from Roy Ayers, once you hear these joints, you'll be like, oh, that's the song that so-and-so sampled, and that sampled, and that also sampled, and that also sampled. It's going to be like that. So join Ear Doctor and I, Black Liberation Media Classical Breakdown, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Me, Will, and Molly will see y'all back here come Friday for the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We love you to pieces, and we'll see you Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye.